This is going to be a quick demonstration of Freemind and specifically how I use Freemind for a lot of different tasks. I've talked to a lot of different people about using mind mapping and the various things that I find it useful for, so I thought it'd be interesting to make a quick video demonstrating some of those. Here are the things I primarily use mind mapping for. Task management. I'm typically juggling several projects, sometimes up to 6, so I need a system I trust where I'm not going to drop items. And I also use Getting Things Done, which is a methodology by David Allen. Brainstorming, mind mapping is fantastic for that because you can rapidly capture ideas and organize them on the fly or afterwards. It's great for meeting facilitation for the same reasons that it's good for brainstorming, but it's also a nice visual agenda that you can quickly rearrange and everybody can see. I use it for my timesheet, recording hours, and I wrote a program which dumps it into an Excel spreadsheet, which is handy, and demo videos, kind of like this. So here are some things I wanted to demonstrate briefly. And what I'm going to try to do is just do these on the fly. So creating nodes is very simple. You just hit Tab. You can enter to create a node below, or you can hit Tab to create another node. Then you can move around, and if you hold down the correct keys, you can rearrange these on the fly. So that's great. So actually, maybe what I'll do is, I guess that's those two. And I'm going to go ahead and I hit Command I, which is the sequence for bringing up the icons, and then you can either click on an icon or you can assign those to hotkeys. So as you can see, you can sort of check things off on the fly or assign other icons, which is nice. And you can assign multiple icons. And you can also, of course, delete icons one at a time, or you can delete all of them at once. But frequently, if I want to flag something, I might put an exclamation mark, and when it's done, I check it off. It's nice that you can add links to nodes, so you can basically just bring up the hyperlink window and type in something or copy paste, or you can also link to documents that are local to your hard drive. So that's links. You can embed HTML in the node, so I'm going to go ahead and move this window up. You can just start typing. This is HTML, and as soon as you do that, it becomes part of the node. You can also bring up the you can edit you can bring up HTML for editing the text in the node itself. Oops. Some more text. I could make this bold, underlined. I don't use this all that commonly, but it's nice to know that you have rich text formatting for the nodes. And expanding and reducing branches. So we can go ahead and create more subnodes. Node 2. And then you can just you can either mouse over or use the arrows to move around and reduce nodes. There's hotkeys, so I can also expand one branch at a time, or I can expand all the branches or reduce them all. So you can reduce everything down to that level, or you can expand them all at once. The other thing I wanted to show briefly was how I use mind mapping for task management, because I think it's incredibly powerful for that. So here's my dashboard where I keep track of basically everything that's going on. And it looks a bit busy, but it's been created over the course of a year and a half maybe, and what I use it for is pretty well refined in my mind. But basically I just started off with tasks, and what I do is for a particular day I type in the date for that day. Usually I do this ahead of time for all the dates, so I can just plug in tasks. And then what I do essentially is at the beginning of each day I enter the tasks for that day. And then as I go throughout the day, I check off those tasks. Usually when I'm creating this initial task list, I'll do some rearranging during the day, depending on how long the task will take or my interest in it. And frequently I'll grab tasks from previous days that I need to pull in for that day. So once all those tasks are complete, I might mark the day as complete. And at the end of each week, ideally, sometimes it takes me longer, but I sweep through all the tasks that have been checked off and pull those down into the completed area, just like that. So it's really handy to be able to create tasks, reprioritize them, and move them around like this. And now I have a list of all the tasks that I've completed, pretty much since I started keeping track of tasks in the Mind Manager tool. And occasionally those are useful to go back to. The other thing I do is I keep track of my hours here. So typically around 2 o'clock I have a reminder that pops up, and I type in the hours I've spent on each project and the tasks for that project. And sometimes I literally just drag those down into here. Here's how I spent my time yesterday, for instance. So hours, project, tasks, and then I have written a program that takes this information and puts it into an Excel spreadsheet. So I might release that at some point if anybody's interested. The other thing I wanted to show here briefly was a little icon key that I created, and this helps me quickly identify tasks and prioritize them. So for instance, if I think a task is going to be really short, I mark it with one of these little icons, or multiple if it'll take a little bit longer. And I mark tasks that I think will be fun, so I knock those out of the way quickly. Ones that are, I've maybe made a promise to somebody or they have to get done quickly, I mark those with icons, and then of course when they're done I check them off. So that's very helpful in quickly getting a feel for all the tasks in front of you. So I think that's a pretty good place to stop. Hopefully this has been helpful and you'll be able to leverage mind mapping in what you do during the day. Thanks for listening.